So we're going to factor this. This is a little bit trickier because that leading coefficient is not 1. But I'm still in the opinion that the best way to do these, generally speaking, is guessing and checking. Because you still know if that factors, since it's a quadratic trinomial, it's going to be first in those two places, and last in these two places, and the O plus the I equals -5. So guess and check. Well, first of all, the last, there's not many ways I can break that up. Either -2 and -1 or +2 and +1. And I'm going to go with -2 and -1 because this is a negative right here. Okay? And the other one we have to guess now before we check is this first 2x squared. Well, that's either 2x and x or x and 2x. There's not many ways I can move them around. So let's check. Let's plug that in and check. Well, that gives us -2x, and that gives us -2x. What's -2x plus -2x?
0.
-4x.
Okay.
So that didn't work, so let's try this instead. Let's move it. So remember what we did. We already tried that, so really all I can do is move it like this and this. So now let's try that. What's -2x times -2? I'm sorry, -2 times 2x is -4x. And what's 1x times -1?
-x.
And what do those add up to?
-5x.
-5x, and that worked. So what was my answer? It was x minus 2 times 2x minus 1. That's how that factored. Let's try another one. 2x squared minus 12x plus 10. Let's go through that same process that we went through before. It's got to break up like this and this. 2x squared can really only be 2x and x. It could be a negative. There could be a negative somewhere, right? They could both be negative, but usually that's not the case. In fact, you could always make the second one negative if you wanted to. And what does 10 break up into?
2.
It's either 5 and 2 or 10 and 1. And notice that since that's a positive, it can both be negative or both be positive. And since that's a negative, we know they both have to be negative. So let's try -5 and -2. Does -5 and -2 work? We guessed, and now we check. What's -5 minus 4? It's not -12. So let's guess something else. So instead of -5 and -2, let's go -2 and -5 instead. I just switched to where they're at, right? Because this 2 here is going to make an impact on that. And sure enough, that gives us -2x and -10x. And what's -2 plus -10? -12. So 2x minus, oh my gosh, and what did I just notice? Some stupidity on my part. What could we have done at the very beginning? What should we have done at the very beginning? I wasn't thinking before I started it. What should we have done at the very beginning? Instead of trying to factor it into two trinomials, what should you always get rid of first? A greatest common factor. See how there's a 2 in everything?
Yeah.
If you would have taken it out at the very beginning, it would have been a heck of a lot easier to do this problem. And now this is just 2 times x minus 5x minus 1, which is what this is right here. 2x minus 1, x minus 5. So if we would have thought before we jumped into it, it would have been much better. My fault.